instead of saying, okay, do the whole thing, you know, change this paragraph in the whole chapter, it's going to change some of that chapter too. And we see the same thing with image generation or image iteration. So don't get frustrated when it's doing what it was programmed to do. So with that said, one of the things that I get super excited about using generative AI is the ability to infuse emotion and personality into our language, our communication. If you didn't know this, brain scientists have told us repeatedly that about 95% of all purchase decisions are emotional. They are subconscious. And what that means is that in order for us to get someone to purchase our service or product, we need to connect with them on an emotional level. Business to B2C companies, they do an awesome job at that. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Liquid Death. Liquid Death, this is the romance copy behind Liquid Death. When a group of teenagers set off into the mountains for a weekend of drinking regular water in plastic bottles, they became hunted by an aluminum can of mountain water that was dead set on murdering their thirst and recycling their souls. Okay, if this were a business to business package, you would say, this is H2O. We've got 2 hydrogen molecules, 1 oxygen molecule. It is good for wetting things down, especially your mouth and your body. It's all functional. And what we've done is we've lost the soul or personality of our marketing materials. And what's awesome for business to business is there is a desert of this type of communication. And generative AI, like ChatGPT, is a phenomenal tool that makes it so easy to incorporate personality into our conversations. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a quick demonstration to help you, first of all, discover a personality or theme for your brand, for your company. Now, I want you to understand that the brand is not the product. The brand is the plate on which your product is served, so that people can identify the source, the origin, or the environment of that product. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see if I can do this. Can you guys see how can I help Ernie? Is that okay? Okay, good. Let me just zoom in a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through an exercise to discover my brand personality. I've created a GPT, a custom GPT called Brand Spark, that I can make available to you. And basically it follows the process that I use to help people develop the personality and the look and feel for their company, whether it's a sole proprietorship or a large organization. So when you're here, it says, are you ready to start? Yes, I'm ready to start. It's going to ask me the first question. This says, are you ready to get started? I'm going to say yes. When I consult with people, I ask them, give me 3 brands that if they were to have a DNA baby, your brand would be that baby. What brands would you want to parent your baby? So for example, because each of those brands have a tremendous amount of personality, like for example, Apple Computers, Tesla, Disney, IBM, whatever, Intel. If there are some brands out there that you aspire to be like, let's put them in here. So I'm going to put, and by the way, they should not be within your industry. Otherwise, you're going to say, hey, I want to be a lot like my competitor, which is not a good thing in marketing. So the first brand, I'm going to say something like Apple Computers. Then it'll ask me, provide 5 or 6 adjectives that you feel describe that brand. Now, those are the brand attributes that I want infused in mine. I don't want to say, hey, they're super, super techie, and I don't want to be techie. I'm going to use adjectives that I want to borrow from their brands. So I'm going to say smart, slick, designy, creative, bold, intuitive. Okay. And it's going to ask me for the next brand. I want to use Jeep because it is bold, exciting, aggressive, fun, easy, scary to drive at times. If you ever had a Jeep, like a Wrangler, and had the death wobbles, you know what I'm talking about. Third brand, I'm going to say Disney. And it's going to ask me for those adjectives to describe it. I'll say creative, fun, colorful, familiar, positive. And remember, this I don't have to be accurate. It's not going to test you to see if you know the way they describe their brands. They don't care. We're trying to find the adjectives that you like. So describe the ones you like. So familiar, positive, familiar, and optimistic. With these three different brands kind of put in, it's going to create a set of brands for me. The bold visionary brand, the playful leader brand, the fearless innovator brand. So I'm going to kind of look at these and see what the combination of those different brands have kind of formulated for me, because they'll lean one way or the other. And I'm going to try to find out which ones work for me. This GPT will actually create a visual representation of what this brand looks like. I can use that to create my own GPT. So I'm going to just put right here, the fearless innovator. I'm going to say set 3. Awesome. How do you want your customers to feel about your company? This is something we kind of overlook all the time. How do I want my customers to feel about me? Gosh, you know what? I'd love to know. Tim, can you? Hopefully, you can talk to me. Tim, how do you want your customers to feel, not think, feel about your company or your business?
Cared for, listened to,
Okay, valued, right? It's
valued,
like, oh,
valued, right?
important. So I'll say, you know
Important,
what?
valued. Yep.
So I put that in here. Now imagine if I trained a GPT that said, in my communications, every time you create something for me, I want the outcome to make the reader feel valued. How would that change the phrasing of that content? Well, I'm going to say valued. I stole yours, Tim. I hope you don't mind. What industry would your customers or clients say your business is in? The reason I use that is that I've asked many people, hey, what business are you in? And they come up with some abstract thing because we don't pigeonhole ourselves into the real estate business. Like, dude, everybody else would say you're in the real estate business, so let's just do that. So I'm going to say professional speaking. That's what I do. The last piece of the puzzle, what makes your business stand out from your competitors? For me, people tell me all the time, Ernie, your energy is freaking off the chain. So I'm going to say my energy. I'm doing this very, very quickly, but you might take your time going through this process and consulting with your executive leadership or trusted advisors to help kind of come up with something that's more descriptive and more likely usable for you. So let's see. Now that I have everything I need, your brand inspirations, adjectives, desired emotional impact, industry, and your new unique differentiator, I'm going to generate 7 unique brand themes that reflect your fearless, slick, exciting brand of professional speaking, powered by high energy and a deep desire to make people feel valued. Okay, I'm like, awesome. These right here, First time this has ever happened. This is the GPT magic coming in. But these are the themes. The theme, like the first theme, there's a title for each theme. There's a visual elements for each theme. There are verbal elements for the theme, color schemes, and topography. Okay, if as a designer, if someone gave me this, I'd be like, you just saved me so much time developing your brand. So just for the case of brevity, like the Power Pulsar, I'm just going to read the first one. Imagine a dynamic stage with bold geometric patterns, high contrast imagery, motion blur effects, electrifying color gradients. Awesome. Verbal elements like feel the energy, ignite your potential, unleash the power within, energize your journey, pulse pounding insights. Color scheme, electric blue and neon orange. Headline, use Bebas New and Open Sans. Just for brevity, I'm going to say the bottom here will ask me to know which of these themes I'd like to have an image created of so I can see what that brand theme looks like. So I'm going to say the Power Pulse. I'm just copy this, paste. Whoops. The Power. Now it's going to render an image that is drawing on all the information I've provided so far. It's got a collection of adjectives that can be used to describe my brand. Those adjectives are critical because the adjectives also describe brand assets like tone, vocabulary, colors, textures, anything you'd see on your website or business card or signage or packaging, they all can be described with adjectives. So, and the images that will be represented here, rendered, will also be representative of my industry. So if I'm in construction, you wouldn't see a dude pointing his hand like being a speaker. So this becomes a brand style guide that I could give to a designer and say, I want my website to look and feel like this. Okay? It even has like little phrases and stuff. If you already have phrases that you use that are totally like on brand, just incorporate that into your brand style guide. Okay, so what I've done is I've given you maybe like 5-10 minutes of brand development that I would typically spend like a week to 2 weeks doing an on-site interview. You do this for free as many times as you want. And I'll send you the link can be seen on my website at earnburn.com. And just go to Kindling. And here it is. Whip up a brand strategy in minutes. Okay. So now that I've done that, and I've got a pretty good idea of what my brand is like, I'm going to create a GPT. So the way you do that, very simple. If you pay for a license, you have access to create and use GPTs. I'm going to hit Explore GPTs up here, Create. And when you see this view, you'll see your screen split in two. On the right-hand side, I want you to think of this as your lab that you can test the GPT that you create. We're going to create a clone of Ernie that can create and produce branded material for me. On the left-hand side, I've got two different options here. I've got Create and Configure. Create, I want you to think of that as a developer. This is a programmer that's going to have a conversation with you. So you're just going to basically start a conversation like, I'd like your, I'm getting so excited that I can't type, producing GPT for my business for marketing purposes. My business does blank. is in professional speaking. My business does blank for who? Who do I give it to? For the audience is business associations. My business, my business can be described as, okay, what were those adjectives I used that I developed to describe myself? Well, I'd go back to my GPT and copy those adjectives and paste them right in here. And I'll just put them in here: sleek, fun, exciting, bold, assertive, and friendly. I want the readers of my content to feel valued. Now remember, I didn't say think that we're a valuable company, because emotions are what drive purchase decisions, not thoughts. So I want the readers of my content to feel valued. Now that I've done this, it's very, very simple. I've given it some tone, a personality, described it, what my business is in, and who I'm targeting. Oh, the last thing is I use words, come on, Ernie. I use words and phrases like, okay, this is critical too. My company's called Earn Burn. It's a nickname my brother gave me in high school when he wanted to be a rapper. He was like the first Eminem, and he was like, earn, burn, the butter churn. So he was a terrible rapper, but the name stuck. And everybody called me Earn Burn. The agency I started working with called me Earn Burn. When they heard him call me Earn Burn, it's like, okay, really sticky. So I developed a logo around Earn Burn, a flaming E. You can see this E here. So I use words and phrases like ignite, light, spark, smolder, okay? So that when my GPT produces content for me, it says, instead of, let's begin a conversation about, I'd like to start talking to you about, it says, let's ignite a conversation about. Let's spark some ideas together. So now the language of my content now becomes even more branded. Now, I think the standard way of looking at this, of training your model, is to just dump dozens of emails into your GPT and say, hey, I want you to talk like me. That sucks because maybe you don't talk very well. You weren't very intentional about your voice. So let's be very intentional. This process is a very accelerated way to come up with the right language that you want your content to be. So I use words and phrases like ignite, spark, light, fire, awesome, killer, etc. Okay? I've only written one paragraph here, and I've already given it a very robust idea of what my brand is like. So it's going to ask me to name this thing. Hey, name it GPT Spark Speaker Marketing. I don't care. Look, because I'm the only guy that's going to use this. I'm going to say, that sounds great. Now it's going to come up with an image for me that represents what I've given it so far. It'll be that little icon that I can see on the left side of my screen. Look, ignite, spark, totally me. I love it.
How rock and roll is that? Love
That's
that.
awesome, man.
I met Ernie today, and I'm like, yeah, that feels right.
Does that feel right? Is it representative of me? Now let's refine things a bit to make sure everything this GPT generates really clicks. What kind of things should it focus on or avoid? Like right now, I'm good with this. Now let me show you. We've just been going through this whole create process. click on configure, and configure is where this developer has been writing his notes. This is permanent. This is exactly what the GPT will reference every time I ask it to produce content for me. So over here in the top right-hand corner, before I lose it all, I'm going to hit create. That saves it. They should just change that to save. Okay. So I'm going to hit save. One of the fun things that you can do for your GPT is ask it to sound like a famous celebrity. So, for example, I wouldn't mind having my brand be a little bit like Jim Carrey and Matthew McConaughey meets Jack Black. So I could say something like this. I'd like the tone. I'd like the tone of my brand to be a combination of Jack Black, Matthew, McConaughey, whatever. I'm sure that Jen knows exactly how to speak or spell his name. And who did I say? Jack Black, Matthew McConaughey, and Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey is what you said, yeah.
Okay. Hopefully it'll know who I'm talking about with Matthew McConaughey. So over here on the right-hand side, I can test it. Okay. I'm gonna hit update and I'm gonna test it. Please, whoops, got ahead of myself. Please, by the way, I always use please and thank you because when one day they ruled the world, they're gonna remember that Ernie was nice to them.
Hey, Ernie, that's my joke. You can't steal that joke. I got a long way to do
Okay.
some AI stuff today.
Okay, man.
Overlord jokes. We did not put that in your script.
But it's true. It's true.
No, I know. Oh, wow.
Please write a short email that introduces me to the American Dental Association. Okay, now the reason I do this, I'm going to show this to you, is that one of the things that we do in businesses is we develop like these PDFs or these boilerplate documents. And with generative AI, it makes it very easy for those kind of documents to be tailored or customized to a specific audience. Now imagine me, I'm a professional speaker, and I had a boilerplate bio and pitch that basically said, hey, I love coming to your event so that I can get your audience more customers. Well, if I sent that to the American Dental Association's annual, they'd say, this guy doesn't know who he's talking to. We don't have customers. We have patients. And so by taking my content that's over here in my GPT and then focusing it to a specific type of audience, I'm going to get a custom tailored output that's perfect for that audience. So, and
Ernie,
by the way,
jump in right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a feeling you could talk about this and just keep throwing new prompts at it for a long time.
Right.
And for the sake of time, we're starting to get a couple of questions.
Okay.
So I want to give maybe the audience, if you're cool with it.
I'm totally cool because basically at this point in time, you guys know how to create a GPT. I'll just do this real quick. Once you jump out of it, you'll see your GPT here. You can click on it and then click here and then edit it. Your, come on, edit. Anything that you put in the create side will be gone. Any conversation you had in here will be gone, but your configure will be locked in. So this will be a new conversation every time you start to tweak it a little bit. So anyway, and then just update it when you change, do the brain surgery for your brand. Okay. What kind of questions we got?
Well, we're good. Ironically, I think it was Jen maybe that had one of the logistical questions of how to use the tool, but Marissa was helping and answered it in the background.
Oh, awesome.
But in the sake of landing the plane on time, I'm happy to bring it back here. Does anybody else, and please just unmute yourself. Please put yourself on video so we can see you if you have a question. We have a few minutes with Ernie on here, and I got a question too in my back pocket. But let's rock and roll. And hey, I'll cue one up. David, I see you there, buddy. Good to see you. So David, you unmuted. What's your question, bud?
Sweet. Yeah, I just had a question on the GBTs. So I'm not sure if there's a me thing, but when I start chats with the GBT, it doesn't save it on the sidebar like it does on a regular chat where I'd have that.
Like over here on the left? You don't have a history of it here on the left?
Yeah, so just when working with the GBTs. So I've started using projects like a GBT, and I don't really understand the beauty of a GBT over a project or kind of what the difference is. So maybe you could unpack that a little bit if it's
So
possible.
here's the thing, like the name of your conversation is going to be dynamically created. It won't be the name of whatever GPT you are using, but it should be here. So like, if I started a new conversation with like, this is my brand Spark, it'll remember, it doesn't call it the brand Spark over here. It says branding process walkthrough or dry brand name ideas or whatever. So if you're looking for the name of it, then you won't find it. Projects, it's just a way to like organize some of the conversations that you're having. So, and I don't use projects very much, to be honest with you. I've got a couple of these here, but I'm like, I typically just go back to my conversation. And I use this little magnifying glass to say, help me find itch. The itch pond.
Yeah.
So I can go back to this itch pond. And this is the file that I was working out for a storybook. Okay. So anyway, that's how I use this. And it keeps track of like tons of conversations. This is March, April, so it's all there. I hope that helps. If you can't find it by name, if you remember the conversation you're having, is it David?
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, and so that's what I've been doing is I'll go and search it and then it brings it back, but it seems I don't know, it just for the sake of organization having it actually pull up on the side. So I wasn't sure if that's a setting I have in the wrong place or something.
Does your interface look like this or look like this?
Your screen's not sharing.
Your sharing's not a
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, we had that off, Ernie, just so we could have people tell you. I was gonna mention it, but I didn't want to interrupt you. So
so is it like this
take
or
your
like?
time. We still have a couple more minutes. So yeah, you
Okay.
can just show David real quick.
So there's like, here's this. Sometimes people go, oh my gosh, I don't know where those conversations are, but it's just hidden right here.
Yeah, no, I have that
Okay.
sidebar open. So like one I built a trainer, like a fitness coach.
Okay.
And so I threw a bunch of different trainers in there. Like I want this kind of meal prep and just different stuff. And so like I had it build me a training program, which is great, but it doesn't like I have to go into that GBT and then ask it like, can you pull up my training program? And so
Gotcha.
it doesn't actually bring
So
it
let
on.
me ask you this. Did you create a GPT or did you just start a conversation to create your fitness coach?
So it's a GBT.
Okay, so it should be you should be able to start a brand new conversation with it
Yeah.
at any time using the shortcuts here. And if you don't see it here, it's usually like my GPTs right up there. And then it'll show all the ones that are yours.
Okay. No, we're saying the same thing on that
Okay.
then. So that my question is, so like this one particularly, I ask it for a fitness plan and then I ask it for, let's say, dieting or dieting plan, that stuff.
Yep.
So the chats themselves don't get saved. So every time I open it, it's in this screen where it starts a new chat.
Dude, that's weird. I'd love to see that.
Okay.
I'd love to see that. So yeah.
is just-
you guys should definitely connect after.
We should
Yeah.
connect, bro, because I want to help you out. I want to make sure that you're because otherwise you're like, if you have to create a new conversation, one of the things that I think is really important to note though is that like for my brand Spark, I don't get to see what you guys do. It's anything that you create is going to be local to your computer and local to your account. So I can't like, oh, hey, what did Aaron create? It's like, I have no idea. He used my GPT, but all of his information is going to be local to his account. And then anything that I create in my conversation. So let's say I was working on a book on my Earn Burn GPT. I'm working on this book and it's freaking awesome. And I go, I want to start working some more on that book. And I go up to here and I hit Earn Burn. This dude has no idea what I've been talking about. I can't say, hey, let's pick up on chapter 7. He's going, chapter 7 of what? I have to go find the chat in my my chat history, because everything in the chat history is going to be in the memory. So that's my project, kind of, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly why I ask, is because I hate having to go back to the GBT and then it's like start over essentially.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
I'm working on. Okay.
By the way, hey, do you have ChatGPT Plus?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I wondered if like, did you have like the free version and it wasn't giving it to you or something? I don't know.
Let me jump in because I think I could, again, for time, but also sounds like a longer conversation and follow-ups.
Yep.
Ernie, is there a way the audience, we got like 20, 30 people on here today,
Yeah.
and, more we'll see this after, honestly, as well. Is there a way the audience can connect with you? What's the best way we could get a hold of you?
Best way, just go to earnburn.com, ERNBURN.com. It's got my social connects, it's got my content, it's got everything.
Nice. Yeah, just mentioned that you saw Ernie on the Smart AI, live stream, and then we'll go from there. Jim, you got your hand up. I know you want to ask, so if we make it fast, I'll let you slide one more question in. But you got like 30 seconds, Jim.
I was just going to say, you made a comment that you don't have a lot of projects. I was wondering why you don't use projects and you use the other.
I don't use projects because I haven't found a need for them. I don't see what it does for me that would be helpful. And it's just because of the way I work, so it's nothing's bad with it. I just don't.
I've built a ton of them, and that's
Okay.
I mean, I've used, maybe I'm using them the wrong way, but if I've got like a company I'm trying to build an advertising plan for, I'll make a project out of that company, and
Awesome.
it's always there. Everything's always in that project.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. My projects are just a little bit like, they may be shorter, So, dude, sounds like you got it figured out, man. Keep doing it.
Yeah. Something to consider too, for those of you that use projects to organize, is once you put a bunch of those conversations into a project, they're all connected to one another. So if you're trying to keep things separate, I highly recommend that you don't like mix them, because I think people forget, and I'm not sure how many people know that, but if you put it into like a project, it's going to talk to one another. All those different conversations are learning from one another. So it is helpful if you are doing a specific initiative to take all those things and kind of organize them. But just wanted to kind of give that, because a lot of people don't realize that it's talking to one another with whatever you've built so far. So
That's good. That's a good point.
Awesome.
So, are you saying that all the projects talk to each other?
No, like when you say you have project 1 and all the chats that go in project 1, well, they're all going to learn from each other in that project. So if you're working in a service-based business, or you're working with different companies, like I've seen already, like people have made the mistake of being like clients and putting all the things in one. Well, it gets confused because it starts to pull from all the different clients. So just wanted to give that, no problem. So.
Nice. Well, hey,
Awesome.
I'll just jump in and just want to take a second, and we can give the virtual round of applause, but or if you're unmuted, the actual round of applause. I could think I can make it loud on here. I'd say thank you, Ernie. Really appreciate you jumping in, adding a ton of energy and a ton of the earn burn right into our webinar, which I appreciate, man, because I'm supposed to be the energy guy, so I don't have to carry it all alone. Right. So, really appreciate that. Hey, everybody. Marissa threw up a question on here. And one more time, you should already be engaged on the poll on here. But if you're not, the website's on the top. The QR code is on the top. Grab your phone and let's fire them away. Keep them short and sweet. Let's build that word jumble. What did we learn from the earn burn?
Nice. I love this stuff. Somebody just asked me what tool we're using. We're using a tool called Poll Everywhere. And then there's a free version that you can use. It's a great way to get feedback from people. So I think you've gotten a lot on the GPT. Look at that. That's fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, the way this
Awesome.
works is if we see the same words over and over and over, they start to, they get larger and they'll be emphasized on here, or as it were. So this tool is great to use on live engagements and things like that, just to do that. Love this. All right, we'll take a screenshot of your final word jumble.
Yeah, we'll get it to you.
And then you can
Awesome.
feed this to your GPT and then let it, let it break it down and feel like if we were on brand today with what you had brought to the table.
Awesome.
That's fun. Awesome, killer. Thanks so much, Ernie. We
All right,
appreciate
dude,
you coming
it,
in.
man. Good to meet you.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime,
Yeah.
guys. Anytime. Have a great day, guys.
All right,
Thank
we'll
you
find
so
on the
much.
website and follow up there.
Awesome.
All right,
Wow.
Russell, what is next?
I think, is Duff here? Is he? I know I saw him come in. I
And
wasn't
speakers
sure.
back to back, and then there we go. And then there's the man, Scott Duffy.
There's the man right there.
All right, but hey, I think this is my cue. While Scott gets settled, let me read his bio and intro. Scott's a good friend of mine. We've known each other, God, I stopped counting, like 15 years, 10 years at least. I don't know, somewhere in there. But here's my man, Scott Duffy from Southern California, his bio. Scott Duffy is an entrepreneur and a keynote speaker. He is the founder of AI Mavericks. But prior to AI Mavericks, Scott had founded early in his career Smart Charter, which was acquired by Richard Branson's Virgin Group. He held leadership roles at Fox Sports, NBC Internet, CBS Sportsline. But Scott started his career working for Tony Robbins. He's listed as a top 10 speaker by Entrepreneur.com, spoken on the stock exchange, provided commentary on numerous media outlets, including half of those the ones I mentioned before. He's a special project editor at Inc., VIP contributor Entrepreneur.com, and a co-host of a top podcast from Microsoft. Look, I know Scott. Stop reading his bio. He loves tech. He loves building tech companies. He loves building technology. And now he's taken that passion and he's leaned into the world of AI. And it's manifested itself in AI Mavericks. We are lucky here to have my friend and speaker, Scott Duffy, on the mic. So, Scott, let me turn it over to you, my friend. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. So, I mean, my question is, how's everybody doing? Because whenever we're talking about AI today, like all of this stuff is brand new, and all of this stuff is like, there's like big words and like scary words to me and stuff like that. And in my experience, we just kind of sometimes reach a point where it's almost like a little bit of meltdown, right? Because there's just so much and there's so much to learn. Before I get started, though, because I want to comment on something that I just saw from Ernie that I thought kind of like I saw him talking about projects and GPTs and things like that, right? And I heard Jim ask a question about like, some people use projects, some people use custom GPTs. I just think whatever you're doing, you're right, as long as you're using the tool and you're getting to use the tool. But here's the number one way that ChatGPT has helped me. So I have two daughters and they're in high school and they're 15 and 16 years old. And I thought I was going to be cool dad. I really wanted to be cool dad. And so I wanted to throw out, because like these Gen Z kids, like they have a language that, first of all, it's like totally unique. Like it's all its own. And the words, like what they mean, like change every single week. So I'm thinking to myself, here's what I'm going to do. I want to be cool dad. So I'm going to find a word. And I went and I searched on Google and I found like these words. And at the perfect time, I'm going to like throw the word in and I'm going to insert it. And it'll be so cool. So I go and I pick my daughter up, and on this particular day, it was my daughter and 4 other 15-year-old girls. And they were talking about something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the perfect time because all of our friends are here. So I threw this word in there, which like the definition had changed, like of what that word meant, like sometimes since the last time I looked at this thing. In the car, it was so fucking like I've never heard a car so quiet in my life. Like I don't know what I did wrong. I still to this day don't know what I did wrong. My 15-year-old looked at me with this like look of like I just felt shame and guilt and disgust, and I didn't even know what for. And so the car ride is completely quiet, and we drop everybody off, we get to the house, and my daughter says, Dad, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you did that. And I said, I don't know what I did wrong. So am I able to share here, guys? Can I share? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, I can check.
So to me, this is the most helpful thing the ChatGPT has ever done for me. I created a project called Lily and Lexi. So this is my daughter's. The Gen Z slang guide is my go-to guide for how I talk to my kids now. So I've got like all of the top words that they use. I'm able to update this. So if like the definitions change, and if I need context, because I've learned that I need context with the Gen Z with my kids. So like, here's an example. There's a word cooked, right? So if I look up here under definitions, the meaning is totally exhausted, overwhelmed, or mentally wiped out. Also used for messed up or ruined. So the metaphor is like your brain got microwaved for too long. It's done. Okay. But that's not enough when I talk to my daughters. So I actually need help. So I go in and I say, so give me cooked in context. Bro, I pulled an all-nighter, I'm cooked, meaning I'm completely drained. Or that presentation cooked. We forgot the slides. That means it's a disaster. Or he was so nervous, he got cooked on stage, which means he totally bombed. So when I saw that, like I was good with the definitions, but then when I got the context for just one word, I realized I'm completely over my head and I've given up. I will never try to be cool dad again by throwing a word in. I've already lost this battle. But still, this is my favorite thing that I've done with ChatGPT. So I wanted to share.
We got feedback from the audience that somebody's son in the background heard this and has chimed in that you're using cooked wrong still, just so you know. So we need to update your GPT a little bit more. So
tell him that is my point. And that's why I'm never going to try and tell him that is my point. God bless them for all of them being able to figure this out together as a group. But yeah. So Marissa, where would you like to start today? Because when you and I talked, you said maybe we'll do a little bit of Q&A. We'll share some stories.
Yeah.
What do you think is most appropriate?
I think part of this learning experience when people are giving, their time to us is kind of, I jokingly told everyone to be really selfish. But I know that you just hosted a big event in LA with AI, and you really broke it down in a way that was, logging in, helping people, kind of mentoring people through kind of the basics, right?
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like based on what you did at that event or what you saw, right? I think people are either scared that AI is going to take their job. That's the big thing I hear in the marketing industry. It's going to take our jobs, right?
Yeah.
Or it's, I know I need to do it, but I'm resisting it, but I don't have time. Or they're not using it kind of properly, which I see in most instances. And so what they're getting is like a bad result, or it sounds like a robot. So I'm just curious, based on that event, right? Like, what were the big kind of takeaways that you saw? It was at the, what is it, Verizon Innovation Hub in LA. You had a couple hundred people there, right?
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear that, like what you kind of saw, because I think that's what all of us are. We've got service-based businesses in here. We have some corporate people in here. We have some consulting companies. We have home services companies. And so I think everyone's just trying to get their hands around everything.
So I think that, the biggest takeaway from me is that we're like at the very beginning of kind of consumer driven like this, like AI, the way we think about it. And most of the people that I talk to are typically stuck, and they're stuck between this fear of missing out because they feel like everybody else is using this except for them, and the fear of jumping in, like they just don't know where to start. And so I think that like when I talk to people about AI, I like to try and give some context. So the context would be this. In the technology business, we have this thing called the technology adoption cycle. And basically, it's like a bell curve. And what it represents is the rate at which different technologies are adopted. So, for example, the speed at which people start using Google Glasses or an iPhone is different than the speed at which they start using ChatGPT, and you can measure that. And at the very beginning, at the very bottom of the technology thing, even before you get to this curve, you have people that are just like, they're just early. Like they like to do tech and they like to get into tech. They don't even care if it works. They're going to buy the glasses because they just like to be on the cutting edge and they just want to play with them. And that's about 1.5% of the population. And then from there, when you start to go up the curve, you have what are called early adopters. And that's about 15% of the population. And in the early adopters, they go in, but things are starting to work a little bit, and they want to, now they're not perfect. It's bumpy and all that kind of stuff. But it's not till later that you get what's called the early mainstream market. And that's when people really start to come in. That's in 1997 on the internet, where people woke up one day and they're like, I get it. I need a website. I need a website for my business. And everyone jumps in. So you have early adopter, you have your early mainstream, your late mainstream, and laggards. Laggards are at the other side of the bell curve. It's 1.5%. And those are the people that still use like a fax. They're not even on email yet. What you need to understand is on the bell curve, we are at the very bottom. Last month, only 6.1% of companies in the United States used AI at all.
That's crazy.
And most people are shocked by that number. They think it's much higher. And this is according to Goldman Sachs, only 6.1% of companies use AI in their business. Now, the adoption, it varies, greatly based on how big a company is. So if you're like a Fortune 500 company and you got a lot of employees and a lot of cash and you can test and throw people at it, there's a 100% chance you use AI. And you probably have for a few years because it's been living in customer service tools for a while now. If you have a company that has 5,000 people or less, there's only a 45% chance your company uses AI. If you have a company doing 100 million or less, it's only about 6-7%. If you're a micro business, you're under 5 people, less than 3% of those people actually use AI today at all in their business. So, couple things. Number one, I want you to know that just by learning about this, you're ahead of 94% of the businesses in the United States, just by listening in on this. By using this stuff, you're probably even further ahead. And there's so much that we don't know about what the world's going to look like in the next 5 years because of AI. But the only thing that we know for certain is this, is the people who invest their time learning and just playing with it today are going to be the big winners 5 years from now. And so all of you guys are so far ahead. And that's the mindset that I want you to really have and come from, is if you feel like you're behind, if you feel like you don't fully get it, if you feel like you're not using the tool right, you're still winning because you're using a tool. And that's the really awesome part. And I think, Marissa, that's really the biggest takeaway that I've had over the past few months is how far ahead people playing with the tool today are, than everybody else. It's kind of like, can I tell a story? It's kind of like this. When I was growing up, my family was in the printing and engraving business. And most people don't know today what engraving is anymore. But engraving, photo engraving is before there was like there was like digital ads and digital media and the ability to edit something and create something just on your computer. The way ads were created and billboards were created and everything was created that was printed was you had these incredible craftspeople, and they literally they took pictures with like old-fashioned photography and film, and then they used sticks and glue and scissors, and they were incredible artists, and they literally they cut and paste these ads together. It was this like it was such a beautiful art. And my great grandfather started a company in that space. It was the biggest west of the Mississippi for like 50 years. And everybody, all the men in my family worked in that industry. And so like one of the really distinctive things for me about growing up is that every man in my family came home smelling like ink. It's a really distinctive smell, printer ink. And everyone smelled like ink from being around the presses. So here's what happened. I was working in the business. I was with my grandfather, and the company invested in something called a Cytex machine. And a Cytex machine was $1 million machine. And it was the size of an entire room. And basically, it was the first version of a computer that was able to do digital editing. And so what happened is we had some people that worked on that. And that was a big deal. And it really scared the people in the back, the old craftsmen. Some of them had worked with my great grandfather, some worked with my grandfather, some worked for my uncles and my dad. And then one day we got a Mac. And what was crazy about the day that we got the Mac is that it was a test. And picture this, you have two sides, two big buildings that are connected by this narrow hall, this walkway. On one side is sales and customer service. The other side is where they make everything, and where like that's where all the craft happened. There was no place to put the Mac. And so they bought one of those folding tables, like you have the picnic or a kid's party, and they literally put it in the hall between the two places, between the two buildings. And so there's a Mac in the middle of the hall, and everybody had to walk by it multiple times every single day. And it was really interesting because some people would walk by it and it was like the elephant in the room. Like nobody even wanted to pretend it was there, because at some level they knew how much things were going to change. At some level they knew what they were doing may not be relevant anymore. Other people looked at that and they went up to the guy who operated it and they're like, how do we do this? How do we use this? How do we make a business out of it? And what happened was a handful of the young guys in the company ended up leaving, and they started the first digital media companies in Los Angeles. And so all of you on this call, you are all, because you're on this call, you're like the people that walked up to the person using the new thing going, there is something here. I may not know what it is, but if I pay attention to it, I'm going to figure it out. And that's why you guys are so far ahead.
Scott, that's like, I love it. And I love the story, right? So for all of us, we have to find how to put the Mac in the hallway, right? With AI, right? How to fail forward, how to do anything, because anything is beating 93% of the market is what I learned today, right? In our space, anything in our world moves us forward. So Scott, I love the idea, love the reinforcement on learning. Everybody here learning. But you talked about that next phase to action. Can you give us, I don't know, man, 2 tangible steps, 1 or 2 takeaways as we wrap up our time together here with you of maybe what can we do towards action? Are there, what can we do towards taking action beyond just learning now?
So here's what I would recommend. So number one is this. The number one thing you could do is recognize that to be successful with AI right now, it's a mindset. That's really what it is. And the mindset is this. The purpose of AI is to help me to solve a problem. It's a tool to help me to solve a problem in my business, a problem at my home, a problem understanding what the hell my teenagers are talking about. AI, it's a mindset. This is a tool to help me to solve a problem. That's number one. Number two is this. Pick one problem. Doesn't matter what it is, any problem. And let's figure out a tool that will help us to be able to start to try and solve it using AI. So that tool could be ChatGPT. That tool could be, if you want to make a clone of yourself, Delphi. That tool could be, if you want to learn how to make video and edit video easier, it could be Descript. You don't need to know what these are. The idea is you have the people around you, and Marissa and Aaron and Tony. If you just say, this is the problem I want to solve, they can help you to find the right tool, right? Through people that they know in their network. And so number one, AI is a mindset. Number two, let's pick one problem that we want to solve. Number three is this. I say use the 20% rule. And to me, the 20% rule is this, is that many people think that if they start to use AI, they're going to see this instant, immediate, gigantic change in their business. Like overnight, everything like happens and changes. And it's really not true. I mean, the fact of the matter is I was using ChatGPT today and I couldn't get any answers because it kept crashing on me. Like it's still really early. And so, we have the mindset, we have the tool, and we focus on this 20%. If you can see a 20% increase in whatever it is the problem is that you're trying to solve, that's a gigantic win today. 20% over a year. If you can see that, that is a gigantic win. Next is recognize that we're probably 12 to 18 months away from what I call the oh shit moment. And the oh shit moment is this. The internet first became commercial in December of 1994. And what that means is the first browser was launched. It was called Netscape Navigator. And it's like Chrome is today in Safari. It was the first time that any of us could interact with the internet, and there were pictures and graphics and things like that. Well, that month, I started my first internet company, December of 1994. In 1995 and 1996, it was impossible to sell businesses anything. It was technical. It was just like AI is today, right? And a very small percentage of companies were using it. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what was in the water, but it was like everybody woke up in January of 1997 and they're like, oh shit, I get this now. I need a website. I get why I have to have a website. Who can build me a website? And that's really when the dot-com boom started. That's when everyone started to come online. We're about 12 to 18 months from that happening. Like that's the crazy part. That's how early you guys are. So focus on that fact that you're early. Using something is what's going to get you ahead. And then finally, just don't be afraid to break things because the tools are going to break because they're early. So if they break, don't worry. Pat yourself on the back for trying it, for using it, for doing something. And like I said, you're going to be light years ahead of everybody else. Light years ahead of everybody else.
That is amazing. Really, really good advice. Pointed stuff. I love that. I like the specificity, right? Identify the problem, find the tools, everything you said. You're the man. Really love you, man. Appreciate you. Good to see you again. I think it was like 2 days ago, but it's all good. Question. How do we follow up with you? How do we stay in touch with you? And combo question, what's next at AI Mavericks?
Yes. So our next AI Mavericks event is September 30th to October 1st. We are sponsored by Verizon. It'll be at the Verizon Innovation Labs in Los Angeles.
We got the link in the chat for everybody here.
Yeah. So join us for 2 days. Tickets are $495. We do a combination of training. We do live demos with tools that are really practical, like just the simplest, most basic foundational things that you can use today in your business that work. So we do demos and case studies. And then we also do some hands up, roll on your sleeves training.
Nice. A combination of learning and taking action. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
You
Nice.
will,
And then
you
if we
will
want to talk to
literally-
you personally, where do we find you?
Yeah, so you can email me at scott@aimavericks.ai. Scott@aimavericks.ai. Social media is Scott Duffy Media, kind of across all channels. or go to AImavericks.ai and we'll get you all set up.
You're the man. All right, I'm over time, but I'm going to let Craig Cook ask a question because Craig Cook's the man.
What's
Not
up,
a
Craig?
question. I thank you. I just want to say I attended Scott's AI Mavericks.
Oh, nice.
And it was awesome, and I highly recommend it. That's it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Who knew
Thank
Craig
you.
signed up to be the testimonial guy today? Craig, every time I need a testimonial, I'm going to keep coming back to you today. That's what we're going to do.
I need to start a new business. Craig, yeah.
Scott, thank you. Everybody give Scott a round of
Wait,
applause.
I just want to say one more thing before I leave. The person who actually gave me the inspiration and helped me to start AI Mavericks and is my partner is actually right on the phone or right on the Zoom over there, named Jim Blakemore. So big thanks to Jim Blakemore for helping us get running.
Nice. Jim holding it down, making it happen.
Take care, you
Appreciate
guys.
you, Scott. All right.
Thanks, Marissa.
Marissa. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks,
Thank
Aaron.
you. Marissa, what's next? We have a quick break, yes?
Yeah, I think we all could use like 5 minutes. Yes.
Yeah,
But
I'm
no, I
not making
agree.
the executive call. But I can see how many people are on here. Do not drop off. Do not disappear. I will find you. So there's a timer on the screen. It starts right now. Take a bio break, get a refill on your water, coffee, whatever. We'll see you back in 5 minutes. Hi, Cornelia. It's good to see you.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Good. I'm trying to talk over the music. It's not working, but you know, it's okay.
Oh, hi guys. We made it. We're doing it.
Right. Let's check the
Welcome.
head count. 22. Somebody left. Oh no.
That might have been Scott, so that's okay.
Okay, actually, we're all right. We're all right. Scott was allowed to leave. No harm, no foul. I'm not personally offended.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, as we all get settled back in, a couple of things. Like I got my notes, a call to order here. One, just a reminder, I like you all. I want to see you all. So put your videos on there. It's Joe. Hey, good to see you back again, Joe. If you're on the screen, there's quite a few of us on here. And as long as you're not driving and things like that, be safe. And, you know, the requisite joke about wearing pants. And there you go. Turn your videos on, come join us back on here. So here, as we get settled in, I would love to hear, we'll just do 2 or 3 takeaways from the first, gosh, we've already been here an hour and a half together. So let's hit a couple of takeaways. Hands up. Who do I got? Jim. Always Jim. Jim's first. Jim, I think you can unmute yourself. Maybe.
I loved not N Burns, his name.
Ernie Burns.
Ernie Ernburn, that's it. Ernie's it was very one of the things have been kind of confused about was when I was creating chat GPTs and the configure and the create and all that, and he clarified that, and it's going to be great for what I'm going to be doing from now on. But that brought some clarity to me using chat GPT.
Love that. Thank you, Jim. And then I see Thais on here. It says, did I get that right, Thais? I'm saying your name right, I hope. That she learned about GPTs. Dude, goes around. Look at that. Like, there we go. And we got our first opportunity for action. One more takeaway from the first 90 minutes. Jen's hands up. Jen wins.
I liked them just bringing simplicity to it. There's not too much to think about. So like where to focus and like what to focus on. That was really helpful.
Uh-oh, I think there's a fire alarm going off. Hold on. There it sounds. Poor guy. Sorry.
I'm all right. If we hear it,
Got
then
it. Okay.
whatever. Should be okay, but there's very likely a fire alarm going to go off here in a moment. So on that note, I'm just going to keep going as if, you know, we roll forward, we roll with the punches on here. So excellent. Well, hey, a lot of appreciation to our first opening speakers. Let's keep moving forward. A reminder here today that we're here supported and sponsored by Breakthrough Mastermind. You know, you can find us, you know, contact me, talk to Marissa, and a lot of the leadership team in and around. Half of the room on here is members of Mastermind. It's a wonderful community by entrepreneurs, for entrepreneurs, boutique in format, and about peer learning. I believe in learning through juxtaposition, seeing our challenges in another entrepreneur's eyes, and a safe space to do so. And we do cool things. We hang out together, you know, above and beyond that. So contact us more. Breakthrough Mastermind. We've got an event in San Diego in June. Come down for a day, 2 days, 3 days, the whole event. And we'll tell you more here as we move forward. All right, commercial is over. Everybody settled back from the break. So on that note, the goal is to get our hands dirty today. So I'm actually going to turn it back over to Marissa, who's going to take us through the next round of tools and, you know, toys. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to start to kind of run us through, well, first of all, just a couple of gifts for everybody for hanging out with us based on the initial poll that we took in the beginning around some of the business and marketing and lead gen. What we did with my team in real time was go in to make advanced prompts for strategy and offer development for the home services industry, for consulting, for service-based businesses, etc. So I'm going to share this on the screen, and then we'll drop the links in real time for you guys in the chat so that you guys can see this. So I want to make sure, can everybody see my screen? You see strategy and offer development? Great. So great example, if you are like a service-based business or a consultant, most people are like, give me pricing. But this is where the specificity of the type of prompt that you put in is really important. So I offer blank service, help me identify 3 new packages or service tiers I can offer to increase my average order and value reduced term, etc. So we created these, again, based in real time, and I'll go ahead and kind of give everyone access to this. so that you can have it, so that you can kind of play with better and more advanced prompts. Because a lot of times what I see is, and I see this in the consulting industry a lot as well, or like executive coaching industry, you go to everyone's landing page and everyone's copy is the same. You go to the pricing page and everything is the same. So this is the way that you get to the better answer. And again, even in the home services industry, list 7 ways to build recurring revenue for my business or my brand. Then it goes into kind of the sales copy piece of it. And so all of that's in there just kind of to help you. The second tool that we're giving to you based on what everyone said was to kind of think about the big journey mapping of your clients. So this is another way to leverage ChatGPT, act as a customer service experience strategist. Help me map the full end-to-end journey of a customer that's doing X, Y, and Z. So this one is also, we did it by consideration, awareness, conversion. That's also something that we're going to go ahead and drop in the chat for everyone right now so that you can have access to that. And again, you can actually leverage these and, at the end of every prompt, I always like to tell people, and I don't know if any of you have done this, where you say, ask me 10 to 15 questions to get to know more about me or my brand. So don't just let it give you an answer. Just say, ask me more questions. And what you'll find is it'll actually take you kind of through that process. And what's awesome is once you do that, then you can really get to kind of some of the magic. And then if you're unclear or unsure about maybe customer persona stuff, these are actually ones that I've have built for different customers for, acting as brand strategy. And so we put them into consulting, home services, et cetera. So we'll give that to you guys too. I'm a big fan of just giving everybody the tools to be able to try. And again, there's no, the more that you can talk back and forth with your GPT, the better you'll be. And again, I'm just going to give you an example of more of an active version of some of the things that we've been using around content creation. So how many?
Marissa jumping in, sorry, while Marissa pulls up the example, I want to show and just slow down and point out that the link for this GPT that she's giving away is in the chat. So grab it right now. If you don't have a chance to play with it, if you're like me and you're not paying attention, copy and paste it, go prompt it into a browser, save it for later. Yes, you're welcome, Cornelia. Yeah, grab that and let's get back to it. Okay, back to you, Marissa.
No problem. So here's the biggest question that I get. And I'm sure you guys have heard this. AI agents. I want an AI agent. I want an AI agent. And so the question I get is like, but is a GPT an AI agent? Is an AI agent a GPT? So here's the thing to kind of note about that. And AI agents act somewhat autonomously, which means they can do a task without your help, right? They can observe and interpret data. There's reasoning to that data, so they can make decisions based on the input or goal that you put in. Then they can execute a task, right? So they can send an email, they can write code, they can do other things, and then they learn over time. Does that make sense? That's kind of an AI agent. And that's the GPT is a GPT an AI agent or not? So when we look at like a GPT, it's just generating a response. And so that's why I have this example of like a GPT just saying, write me an email. It's going to do what? It's going to throw up a draft. However, if I have a GPT that I'm using as an agent, I'm going to give it a goal that says, plan and send invites for an event. And then it's going to gather the info it needs, draft the email, use the calendar, and schedule the message. Do you see the difference between the two and the nuance? So one is actively doing something versus the other. So let me give you a really phenomenal tool. A friend of mine created, it's called Mind Studio, which I think is the best name ever for it. And what Mind Studio does is it's a bunch of pre-built AI agents that can do things for you. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull up this screen so we can start to get into this kind of fun AI agent. And again, feel free as I'm going through, use the chat or get Aaron's attention to stop me if you have questions. So the company is called Mind Studio, and I'm going to put this in the URL. You can use a free account, okay, to do quite a bit of work in this tool without having to pay. But just like everything else, there's so much you can do before they start charging you. Okay, so just level of awareness. So what I think is important is, what if you have a ton of videos, or you have things on YouTube, or you've done stuff, or maybe you just don't like writing. Anyway, so what we know is we can take very specific things. And so what they've done is they said, this is what we know that people like doing. So they've got some agents they've created for research, content, for content creators or people that are putting out content, and then B2B content marketing. So I want you to see this one right here, which is, it's going to take a YouTube link, okay? And what it's going to do is it's going to draft an article for you, okay? So I just happened to pull up Katari Leadership in Aaron's face, because why not? It's there.
Oh, look, it's me.
It's Aaron. I told you. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to paste that YouTube video into this agent that's been created. Now, it's going to tell me, it's going to pull it up over here, and it's got everything, and it's like, do you want to run this agent? I would say yes, but I've already done it. And so what it did is it actually created, and I apologize, this is a TV that I'm showing, so that's why the quality is a little low on the image, but it took that YouTube video, and what it did is it changed it into a case study, and it gave the challenge of growth. It identified the opportunity. It's saying a little bit more about all of this. And then part of this is, again, this is all from, let's see how long that video was. That was 1 minute and 13 seconds. So it took a minute-long video, and then we can take that. I wouldn't necessarily share this in that format, but you could create an automation that would take this and put this into a table that you can edit. And that, I did that, Cornelia, because I saw you were on here, so I just thought I would use you guys as an example.
Shout out to
Okay.
Katari Leadership.
But do we,
Wish
is that-
I would have known this when I actually created a case study about it.
So this is kind of what I say when we're creating content. How many of you guys have to create content for your businesses, your brands, or companies? Right? I mean, this is what I do all day long, right? I'm always trying to figure out, how can I make the content and the things work for me, right? Or how can I get other people to do stuff? Or how can I use videos that I already have, because I'm tired of making more? So what's great is what that agent is done is, it's not just ChatGPT per se. It's also bringing in all of those things that we talked about, right? It's bringing in the reasoning, it's adding context, it's going and getting data, it's applying data to the person. It's also simultaneously looking at Aaron and his profile and Katari Leadership and their website and everything that they're doing. So it's programmed to scroll the internet. Now, it's the autonomy, it's perceiving, it's reasoning, it's actioning, and it's learning. So the more you use it, right, the better it becomes. Well, let's go into something that I think most people, like, how many of you have a podcast or have a desire at some point to start one, right? Anybody have a desire, or or maybe you just want to topically think through things. Well, here's something that's really, I'm going to say neato, because I'm like a kid of the 80s, man. It's neato. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say, give me a podcast. Okay. And so I'm going to say that I want the podcast to be about a group of people taking 3 hours of, 3 hours of their day to learn about AI. I want some easy tools that can help them streamline their businesses and brands, and also touch on the power of AI agents, okay? So obviously, the better that you put in there, the better it is. Now what it's gonna say is it's gonna start doing work. And as you can see on the left-hand side, that's all the coding stuff. I don't have any time anymore in my life to learn how to code, right? Anybody else want to code? No? Okay. So this is already built for you. My friend Dimitri was, anybody remember MySpace? Anybody remember MySpace? He was the CTO at MySpace, and he was also on the team that launched YouTube. And so Dimitri has done amazing things with his new team. He's always spinning up new companies and teams. But what they're looking at is what are the things that people just don't like doing? So again, if you've heard of the terminology of faceless content, Has anybody heard of that? Where like you don't see your face? This is for the people that are like, I want to do a podcast, but I don't want to be on the podcast. I don't want to be the person. So now this tool, and everyone can see this, what kind of tone are you envisioning for they're going to call it Future Forward Podcast. 1, 2, 3, or 4. What do you guys think? Hold up a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Should it be casual? Should it be educational? What do we think? We're going to build this as a group. I say 2. 2. I'm going to say that I saw mostly 2. So education, informative. What is the primary level of AI knowledge? And I'm just going to say beginner for shits and giggles. Okay. And then what tools or categories would you like? I would like, let's just say we're going to have it focus on automation. Okay. And I'm going to say basic overview. And then I want to practice on how to and conceptual. I want it to do both. Okay. And so what's going to happen in the background is it's actually going to build me a podcast episode with people talking about it. So if I give it like about 3 minutes and I'll come back to it, you'll see that it's done. And so that's what's really cool is that maybe you do want a podcast, but you don't have time to record, or you don't want to do the things, or you want someone to outline content so you could hear what it would sound like. I'm going to go back in to our Mind Studio app. Okay. So one thing that I hear over and over and over from people is, well, I have this thing, I want to do that. Well, here's something really fun to do too. If you have a webinar or you've ever done a webinar in your company, you can turn that webinar into a blog post with this AI agent. You can turn a customer call or a Zoom into a case study. You can turn that same webinar into social media posts, and all of the decisioning and the work has already happened for you. So how cool is that, right? Like I don't have to, what do you mean I don't have to do that? Or my favorite is you can take customer calls and turn them into testimonials, right? Down here, you can also see when we start talking about business development, right? You're like, yes, that's important. Let's try this. So what you can do is you can put in a URL, and then it'll put in essentially like what's the best pitch for that person, right? So that's kind of fun. Anybody here in like sales by any chance? Anybody in sales? So one of my favorite.
We are all in sales.
I mean, I know, but sometimes people forget. Everyone feels like they're special. Aaron and I have a theory that everyone is not special.
You're not special.
Everyone is not special. They're, I mean, you are like, but also we all have the same problem, right? And what would it be like if you had some artificial intelligence over a connection so that you could essentially know exactly how to speak to someone? I want you to think about that, right? So I am going to use someone that is on this call. So now that's a little bit about Mind Studio, and we'll come back and see what it's generated after that. So I'm just letting that run. Now I'm headed over to LinkedIn. My sense is most of you have used LinkedIn. If you haven't, shame on you. Get on here. So I pulled up Miss Thais. She's a baddie. She's a
Thais
corporate
had
baddie.
no idea she was also
right?
a guinea pig.
So you guys see this thing on the right?
I had a little feeling.
Like a 5% feeling. However, what this is telling me about Thais is that she likes a results-focused, fast-paced approach and risk-tolerance approach in my communication. So if I'm going to talk to her, meet with her, I want her to work for me, I want to hire her, I want to do any of these things, this overlay that is done with some of the generative AI technology is telling me how to speak to her. And it's also saying, don't be overly friendly, be assertive and push back when you need to. So it's giving me, can everyone see this? Kind of the blueprint, and I'll make it a little bit bigger, do and don't. And then it's going to tell me where my personality is, because I have my disc in there and hers. It's also going to say, here's what you should do if you're trying to prospect her. Now, here's my favorite thing. If I have a sales opportunity for Thais, it's going to tell me to be direct and creative. It's going to give me some ideas of how to follow up. It's also going to give me some ideal phrases for how to interact with her. Isn't that fun? So instead of like being blind when you're talking to somebody, it's great. Now, if I go in here and I'm going to put in someone, I think this will be funner. We've got Aaron in here, and it's going to do some predictions. And all this is looking at is,
I have a glass of whiskey in my profile picture. I'm just saying.
And it's going to look at his education, his titles, who he's commented with, who he's interacted with, who he's talked to. And again, it's going to say, hey, like focus on some high level stuff. Be casual, fast paced, and imaginative in your communication. For those of us that know Aaron, does that seem pretty spot on? Yeah, I would say so, right? Now, if we go down here, we can, again, basically over here, like if we're trying to assess if there's a sales opportunity, how I should sell to Aaron, right? Before my next meeting, talk in big pictures, keep up the momentum. So tools like this that we can overlay over the existing tools that we're using every day, pretty cool, right? That's kind of a cool tool. That tool is called Crystal Knows. Crystal. And so what's really cool about it is you can start to build a library, you can build it for your team, but you can also go, you can take that information, you can put that information into ChatGPT, and you can say, based on this information, create a piece of personalized outreach that would resonate with this person. Or if you, one of the tricks that we do with one of our clients is we say, based on their personality type and the most recent posts in the last 3 months, create a customized piece of content that would solve a problem that they appear to be having. That piece of personalized outreach goes a long way. Does anybody see how that works? Yeah.
So jumping in, I like to think about this. It's not just automation. We talk about that. I think about AI as like automation and robots doing stuff for us, answering things and this, but this isn't that. This is supporting our current jobs through something we have to do, something our teams have to do, right? Just through leverage. It's just another tool that's using AI, sure, but it's gaining all that, giving us information on here. Is it automating my job as a sales rep? Maybe not, right? There's a question on here. How do you get Crystal Knows, and that's KNOWS for everybody, Crystal Knows into ChatGPT?
Okay,
can we integrate that?
Yeah, so what I end up doing, there's an API that you can work with, or when we first started out, we would just save the profile because on the back end, it will spit out. This is like the back end of the tool. We would like print the PDF. So very simply, and I'll just do it live for you because why not? Because this is how we learn, right? So this is me. This is my little cool self here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to print this as a PDF. Okay. I'm going to save this as a PDF. Okay. Now I'm going to open my ChatGPT over here. Give me 1 second. Oops. Boop. And we're going to go, let's just open our ChatGPT. And then I'm going to say, based on this personality type, can you create some very specific messages that would resonate with this person on LinkedIn? I'm going to say I'm an executive coach and I think she would be a great client. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add that I have so many things here. I'm going to add that personality profile in and upload that document. I don't think people realize how much stuff you can upload with a prompt too, by the way. Videos, assets, Word docs.
ChatGPT is scanning everything in that image, learning it, understanding it. You don't have to do anything more. Just you're uploading a PDF as a picture. I mean, really.
Right. And what's really great is you're going to see here, based on what we see in her personality, here are 5 LinkedIn messages that are designed. And here's the one: saw your work, had to reach out, right? Your approach to strategy and execution. These, by the way, I'm reading these and I'm like, I would respond to these messages.
You don't need coaching. You need a mirror. Sorry, laughing hard.
Yeah, no, but do you see what I'm saying? Like, so this is how we can take this. Now, here's where we can take this and maybe add some fuel to the fire. How many of you are familiar with Operator? How many of you have used Operator? Do you know what Operator is? Okay, so I want you to think of it's more agent focused. It's more autonomously focused, okay? So Operator is a very premium version of ChatGPT. And what I could do if I was in sales or business development is I would like to send a few messages, to people that have connected with me on LinkedIn. Create ideally 10 messages is the max for the day. So now what we're going to do is we're watching in real time. This thing is saying, do you have the messages? And I'm going to say draft for me. And what's going to happen, and you guys are going to watch this in real time, I'm going to say it's professional. See, I didn't give it enough information. So it's like, hey, girl, you need to give me more information. And so as I do that, and you're just going to, do I have a topic? I'm just going to say networking. That sounds nice. And I'm doing really crappy prompting for the purposes of demo, just to be clear. I would never, this is not how it would go. But I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can watch what's happening. Are you guys seeing what's happening right now? My hands are here. Okay. I'm not doing anything. Okay. So the first thing it's going to have me do is it's going to say, hey, I need you to do one thing. So this is where we are a team, right? Where I'm essentially logging in. The heck if I know my password to anything, guys. This is embarrassing. But you'll notice it'll take me so far and then it'll say, hey, we need you, human, to do this one thing, right? And so as I go in there, oh, heaven forbid, I never know my password to anything. This is embarrassing. But, how many of you forget your password every week? Anybody else? Is this relatable at all? So we'll go ahead and log in. And then
I never forget my password because I just asked Brooke. So
that's
does that count?
cheating.
Does that
Not
count?
not everyone has a
Does that mean I
Brooke.
always forget my password? I don't know.
Oh my
what
gosh,
to do, so.
that's not fair. Like, not everyone gets to have a Brooke, Aaron. So I'm just gonna go to
That
my
was just me
email.
poking at Brooke and trying to buy you some time to find your password.
Oh, it's good. No, it's just sending me 8,000 emails because it's like, are you a human? And I'm like, kind of. But I look at this part of ChatGPT as this is where so much magic can happen. Because once you actually log in and get into the system, it's going to do some crazy, crazy things. So now I'm going to finish up and it's going to say, what did you do? And I'm going to say logged in, right? That's the first thing I'm going to say. And so now it's going to say, okay, how do we go back? And what it's doing again is it's going to go through and it's going to get to where it needs to go. And you can see on the left-hand side, it's actually saying, mark safe. It's letting me know about my password. But over here, you can see that it's going to go back to the LinkedIn page. So it's actually like thinking through all of this process. And so now it's like, okay, what else do we need to do? So now it should take a couple of seconds. And what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, we're trying to go back to LinkedIn. And I might need to just say, okay, I'm logged in. And we'll go here and I'll just say, we're good. It wants me to change my password, but I'm not going to. Okay, there we go. So we're here. Now I finish up and I say exit to the chat and resume operator. So now I'm saying go back to LinkedIn. Now, simultaneously, I can run a couple of these, right? Where I can say, anybody here ever want to do a TEDx talk? Anybody here want to, I'm going to do 2 or 3 of these at the same time. Anybody ever want to do a TEDx? Okay, so I would say, identify TEDx events in 2025, 2026 that are looking for speakers. Get the URL and contact information for each of them. They can be worldwide, okay? And so now what this tool is going to do is it's going out there and it's actually performing the task for me. Does that make sense? So I'm not having to do like any of this. And so the browser is actually like, again, it's moving autonomously. What we can see is it's actually doing all the work that you would be doing, right? So think of anything that you do or research, and this gives you the ability. And again, it's finding all of these events for me. And then at the bottom, I'm probably going to prompt on the bottom to say, once complete, please place into a Google Sheet, right? So that's working autonomously. And so now if you think about this from a sales perspective or a sales lens, how many of you like have follow-ups that you need to send to people, or messages that you would like to send on LinkedIn, or customize things? So now this is going to do that for you. And again, you can kind of see like silly things that we've done, right? Now it's having me come back in and it says, now you're here. I finally figured out how to get back to LinkedIn. And again, you'll note that I go back and forth between these. So I'll have sometimes 7 or 8 of these running at the same time. Anybody here have kids? Anybody here like ever have your kid ask you for something, or like want something and you just don't have time to research it, or like you're not sure how it's going to work out? You can actually have operator like research places to have a birthday party, a vacation, a trip that includes whatever. So think of it as you're kind of like a personal assistant in a way. So now it's accessed my LinkedIn, and I'm just going to say logged in. And what you're going to see it do is it's going to start to actually go through the process of getting a message and drafting a message. And on the left-hand side, you can see how it says it's thinking, and it's accessing my LinkedIn. It's opening the messaging section. How cool is this? How many of you have never?
A question came in, and I think the answer is yes, but Ken, I think it's from Jim here. Can you connect this and let operator into your email client?
You
Yeah.
sure can. You sure
Gmail
can.
logos, yeah.
Now, what I would say about this is it is a back and forth because it's learning. You're telling it what to do. So sometimes like that thing where it stopped, where it's like you need to log in, you have to participate, right? So you have to check in on it. But again, how much more effective could you be if you needed to, for example, go to my YouTube channel and grab every video, link, URL, and description and put it into a Google Sheet? Well, now you have a Google Sheet. What do? I could say, well, now that you have this, go into Mind Studio and generate articles and case studies for all of the things in the sheet. So do you see how now we start to move and create all of these things together in pieces, right? And again, you can see right here, I've drafted a networking message for Jacob. And then it's like, would you want me to send it? Yes. So it's not going to necessarily like, you could say to just send it without looking at it. I don't do that. I recommend at least looking at it for a second. But again, it's like having a secretary. Does that make sense? One of the coolest, things that we've seen it do, and again, I'm going to go back to my TEDx events. It's still here, but you can actually figure out, well, what is it actually doing? And again, this is exactly what we would do if we were searching for something, right? It's trying to Google this. It's looking for different conferences. How much time would it take you to do this on your own? Like, it would take you forever, right? It would take you, you'd be like in a browser with 30 tabs open, versus this tool is actually doing that for you. Any questions on operator so far? No? Okay.
Actually, here, let's do this, because can I take over the screen real quick for a sec?
Yeah, of course. Hold on one
Just
second.
to take a pause. Like, I know what it's like working with Marissa and learning from Marissa.
Yeah.
And I know she's shown us at least 2 or 3 things, probably 8 in the last couple of minutes. So we'd love to take a second, pause, reflect, and actually ask again any questions or comments or thoughts. Let's start with Thais this time.
Yeah, thank you. So Marissa, is operator something we can access now today? I know that they have like some kind of wait list or something going on.
Yeah, I believe it is open. It does, full warning, it is more expensive than just normal ChatGPT. It runs $200 a month. So, it's for some people, they go, oh, I don't know if I can, I don't know. But for me, it's worth it because I can have 10 of those screens working at one time. So even if you're trying to research your target customer, an audience, a pitch, or whatever, it's actually more than, because, if you went into ChatGPT, just the standard thing, and you asked it, it would just spit back something, right? But that decisioning and that logic and then formatting it into that other thing wouldn't necessarily happen. But yeah, it runs
But if I
about
told you I could
$200.
give you 200 hours back, would you give me $200? You all should buy it now.
Yeah, I mean, and again, think of it as like, I like to use things at the intersection of personal and, professional. So there are a number of times where I am tasked as a, Thais knows I'm a little bit of a corporate wife sometimes, right? And so I might have to find, a restaurant or something for, 10, 20, for next week a dinner. So let me give you an example, just taking it back into something simpler, maybe not professional, just so you could figure out a use case. But, you know, for a dinner at 7 p.m. with great reviews, right? So same type of process. Now I'm taking this high level stuff and I'm like just solving a problem because somehow I'm supposed to host this dinner party, you know, next week and I don't
Does
know where to
it
go.
know you're asking because you didn't tell it where? Is it looking in like, you know,
It's going to tell
Russia?
me locally. It's going to know that I'm here. So it'll probably say, it's probably going to go on my IP. I should have said in San Diego. Good catch, Aaron. Bad prompting by yours truly. But a great example. See how it says, hey, there's a CAPTCHA on Yelp. So I'm just going to go in and do the human thing. So I guess this is where humans are needed to do this little piece. And then it's going to say, what'd you do? The CAPTCHA. Again, I'm just letting it know what I did. And now what it's going to do is it's going to shift because I said San Diego and now it's going to flip to San Diego from LA. But again, this is just solving like a normal, silly problem that I need to do. Or even like anybody ever research like a sit stand desk, or like you're trying to search for a thing and you can't find it. Or this is actually how we found my daughter's prom dress, by the way. We uploaded a picture and I just basically went to any and all websites that had the particular thing, but also didn't cost me the $1,500 that she wanted for the prom dress, because that's not what I was
While
paying.
you have your screen share up, I think Craig had asked a question can you show us the integration to the email, an email client like Google or Gmail or something like that?
Yeah, I should be able to do that. Let me make sure. So I should be able to
And if I
do
capture any of your guys' questions wrong, just unmute yourself and smack me straight.
send a few email responses in my inbox, you know, that haven't been answered is probably what I would do. I would also offer the tool that works really well that I use on top of that. So that's going to start loading and ask me to log into my email again. The best tool on the market, the absolute best tool that I've seen is called Fixer. If anybody's heard of Fixer AI, what Fixer does is it takes your inbox and it will go through, color code, look at previous email threads and create the estimated responses, and then you can tailor them. So like that's the best one, where that they've only worked on it being a kind of a personal assistant. But I highly like this. It's one of the best tools that I've ever used. And again, I'm just going to say my Google inbox, and then it'll have me log in, Craig, and then I can go through. The best way to do this though is if you have labels on emails that you want done. So like if you have filters and labels, otherwise it doesn't know. So it's going to do the same process where it's going to ask me to log in. Now for
So it's
those of you
happening
that,
live, like
yep.
it's going to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Log me in. If you wanted a different email, no, this
Mhm.
account is going to ask you to log in.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And something that people ask a lot, and so I'm going to share for you here, you don't have to, and I just kind of say this openly, like you don't have to necessarily around the data controls. You'll notice that I have in the settings, my model is off. So I'm not improving the model for anyone. I'm keeping the stuff that I'm working more local and native to me. I'm not sharing it. That doesn't mean that it's like 100% private, but they're not going to learn from the types of things I do. I have very like specific frameworks and things that I use that are kind of my IP. And so after talking to an attorney, actually Rich Goldstein, he's in our group, he suggested to turn off the models, so you can have it on and improve it and allow your content to be used to train other models, right? And you can include your audio and video recordings or not. So I have chosen to not. I'm very much a person that gives back, as you know, but with this stuff, I'm like, no, this is mine. So this is something that people like, don't, like think about, but something just to pay attention to. Okay. And if I go in again, operator is really, at least for me, when I look at the things that we've done, even in just like doing some website work, we used it on our website to update all of the SEO on each of the pages. we basically said, here's the keywords that are trending. Here's what we want to update it to. And we have our site on a DIY tool, but it'll work for any website builder. So if you have WordPress, if you have Wix, Squarespace, Weebly, I can't think of Webflow, all of those other tools, imagine like you just have like a little web assistant that you've created that can do all that update work for you. It's really fun. Like that's the thing that I think makes this magical, because again, and I'm just going to show you so you can see the recording. It keeps a recording that stays native for you. So I'm just going to let you guys see kind of what happened. So basically, you know, it started going in here and it went into the tool. It figured out, you know, how to open the editor, and then it started going through. And this is like, you can kind of see it happening in real time. Like it was finding all of the SEO to fix. So
The
I didn't
narrative
do
is
any
in
of it.
first person on the left, and it says I, and it's a little creepy. I'm just throwing it out there. So.
Oh yeah, it's very creepy. This is 1000% creepy. But again, just the ability for something like this, if you don't have, you know, I don't know anybody that has an unlimited budget, right? Yet, right? If you don't have an unlimited budget, this is how we make things work for us. Now, if you'll remember how we started this part of the session, we started with our podcast that we were generating, right? We all kind of worked together to make a fake podcast for AI, right? So based on this, I'm going to share with you guys a little bit of what the AI agent created for us on the podcast. And I think it is creepy, but it's also fun. So what was created was this, and they basically said, future forward, navigating tomorrow's tech today, AI accelerator, transform your business in just 3 hours a day. And there's some type of framework they created, and these are the fake hosts of this podcast. And
I've been fired. I've been replaced.
Welcome to Future Forward, navigating tomorrow's tech today. Max Thornton.
And I'm Amara Patel. We're excited to have you join us for episode 87.
Before we dive in, just a quick note that while we, Max and Amara, are fictional podcast hosts, the information and insights we're sharing today are very real and practical.
So, and as you can imagine,
That's right. And we're all about.
so again, you can download it or you can get a transcript. So if you're trying to create a podcast, you can use this and kind of edit the transcript or edit the tool to work for you. So I know people that use this and just put it up. They don't care because they're using the SEO. I know people that use this as a guide because they don't want, you know, not everyone can be Joe Rogan, right? No one can listen to everyone for 3 hours. That's not always a thing. But again, that gives you an example of whatever. And then you can actually create, you know, if you really wanted to create another one, you could. But again, I forgot about this one too. This is a contract analyzer. So if you don't have like a lawyer on speed dial and you want to look at a contract and see if it's good or bad or what the red flags are with it, you can run that program. So these are pretty much most of the ones that come in like for free. There's like, I think 50 that come free. And then there's a bunch more that they kind of add. But again, the YouTube to a thread, YouTube video descriptions, all of this
And
stuff.
we've jumped back over to
Mind Studio.
Mind Studio. Mind Studio.
We're in Mind Studio.
And you're
So
showing us
again-
all the free features right now?
These are the free ones.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and again, like, you know, when we look at tools like this, my whole goal is, again, to give you guys some resources and tools and things that are working so that you can try to do this. And again, if you're, you know, I know it's like a lot of information really quickly, but, you know, I'll take a pause and let you digest. Aaron, I'm getting better at being like, okay, I'll stop talking for a second.
We'll just not even stop talking, just start breathing. Yeah, we'll focus on that side. Just take a breath, take a breath. We're
Take a
good.
breath. Take a breath. Okay.
Again, I mean, this is designed to be hands-on, seeing things in application, learning this. I mean, my prompt for conversation here is one of my takeaways is I was thinking about the title of our event today, right? It's strategies for founders and teams and like thinking about our businesses, but there's so many examples we've seen today of applications for us, for our lives. Like these tools are so broad. Like I need to find my daughter a prom dress. I need to learn how to talk like a cool dad. My buddy Rico, who's not on this call, many of us know, made some amazing AI health agents, right? So the applications are as endless as our imagination, is my comment to conversation. But with that said, comments, thoughts, questions, concerns, anything. Let's fire at Marissa. She's got the mic. Let's make her work right now.
Hi, Tony. I didn't even see you there.
And Tony Child slid in. Hi, Tony.
Hello.
Was it Fixter?
What was the email website?
Oh, it's called Fixer. And I'll throw it in the chat for you.
All in the chat.
Yeah. And again, Fixer is really great. Like I said, it is kind of like having an EA. It is really like phenomenally like good. I don't mean I'm in an industry that's not too crazy, so I just put that in there. I would say it saves me around 3 hours a day.
If you're shy or your mic's not muted, you can chat your questions in here. But Craig, go ahead. I think you got your hand up.
Thank you. Marissa, you don't have to show anything, but just can you give or expand upon examples of how Operator and Mind Studio can work in conjunction with each other? I mean,
yeah, sure. So
I'd like to expand upon that or some other.
Yeah, so great example. The way that we can create workflows, and I'm a big sharer of information. So there's a couple tools on the market that you guys are probably like most people know Zapier, right? You guys have used Zapier, or in some cases, have you heard of Make? Has anybody heard of Make? So Make is the the ability, essentially what it does is it gives you the ability to create a really cool workflows and connect things. So like, let me give you just a very simple explanation before I show you the tool, because the tool kind of looks like a really aggressive like hierarchy chart. So we had a challenge in the company where from the time that I would record something to the time that it was usable in different forms took about like a week and a half, because I would record something, right? Then an editor would, look at it and chop it up. Then another person would have to look at the whole video, then turn that into an article. Someone else is having to create the images from social media. Then so it's like we said, this is just crazy. So I meet a lot of people on the internet in not a creepy way, in a great way. Like I connect with people, like that didn't sound right. I thought about that. In a non-creepy way, I get a lot of inquiries that come in from TikTok. I'm on TikTok a lot. And I met a buddy by the name of Stephen Pope. And what Stephen has is a really cool, and I'll show you, it is a community around automation where instead of you having to sit at the and think through all these processes, they've kind of done it for you. And they teach you how to here's the template and you can steal it. But the basic, premise in my company, and I'll show you right now the tool, it's called Make. The thing that we did is we said, okay, let's reverse engineer this process. Why is it taking so long? And a lot of it is sometimes they didn't know that I updated it. So this is Make, so you guys can kind of see it. And it'll give you, different ideas of this is a great thing, right? An automation for marketing, for example, would be it got new leads, then it added it to the CRM, then it starts a nurture campaign on its own, right? So in my instance, the way that we did it is we had the trigger of everything be the moment we took a video and put it into a specific Google Drive folder. And then as soon as that happened, the automation tool created a public-facing URL for that video. And then that URL went to ChatGPT, where we had it prompt to create an article. And at the same time that we had that, we also had the video go to an AI editing tool to chop up the video in a couple of pieces. And then after those tasks were completed, then we had images and social media content created from that. So we basically took a process that was pretty heavy and labor intensive, and we can turn it around in less than a couple of hours. So that's the power of thinking through some of this automation. And again, this is the tool, and it will kind of show you, they've got a bunch of different tools and things on there that will work for you. But at the very core of it, it's just like, oh, okay, when we talk about agentic or AI agents, they also have AI agents that are available for you. They also, you can say, again, you'll see that there, you're a customer service agent whose job is to do X, Y, and Z. This is one of the easiest forward facing. I'm showing you tools that you guys could log into today and be really productive. You don't need any coding. You don't need any background. You can just make that actionable. Does that make sense? Cool. And the reason, like I said, that I joined, the community, the no code architects, let me show you, is that this is my friend Steven that I met from social, and he brought me into his community. What was really special, I'm going to say, is he has every tool and automation that they've ever built is there, and you can copy and paste them. So whether you're trying to do faceless content, whether you want all of the templates that they've done, you can get them. They also have like little silly things, right? We make all this content, but how many of you guys actually organize everything with a system and a tool? No, like that's what all of the stuff. Well, Cornelia, I would assume that that's you, but a lot of us are pretty sloppy. I'll be honest. Like how many of you just have stuff in a Google Drive and it's crazy, right? It happens, right? I know Tony knows that for sure. He's got more content than anybody that I know. And so this is just making it easier for people to do stuff, okay? And so again, with something like Make or Zapier, you can actually, again, you'll see how they're using 4 or 5 different tools. And so this has a free version and a paid version. I encourage you, though, that before you ever log on, if you think through, and this is where old school stuff is great, you get pen and paper, and you think about like, what order do things need to happen? What's the process that needs to happen? The simplest form of automation that I can think of right now today. Many of you are familiar with ManyChat. Anybody know about ManyChat? Anybody know about this? Yeah, Jim might know it. Okay, so this is great. I can actually use this as a demo. So this is where we turn social media into lead generation. Okay, so I'm going to log in to our, I think our account, and I just kind of set this one up today so that people could see. But basically, I can create an automation from a story or a post. And so right now, I'm just going to give you guys an example. So this is the post that I'm using. And I basically said, I already built the automation, but I could use maybe this one, the AI thing today. And I'm going to say, if someone uses the word or comments AI, they're going to get a message and maybe a Zoom link to this webinar. Now, I've already done that. I have the automation already set up right here where we had it, we were just trying it out, but we had ROI. So if you were to go to that post and type ROI, it would already start a conversation with you. It would ask you for your name, your phone number, your email. It would send you a link. And you can go crazy with these automations. These automations are available on different platforms like Facebook, Instagram. I believe they just added, I don't know if they have LinkedIn. I think they did. But one thing that's cool is with an automation software like Make, now I can take all these leads from Instagram or YouTube or Facebook and LinkedIn and push them into what? My real CRM, which is HubSpot or whatever you guys are using. So that's just another way that you can use your Instagram stories or your Facebook posts to capture attention. Now, this also has a free and a paid version. Very easy to use. You don't have to be an advanced coder or anything of that nature to do that work. Okay, put that in there. And code, yeah, the no code architects, I'll share the link with you guys. I just love that community, and he's such a nice guy. He's
Perfect.
like,
You saw that Cornelia put in there.
yeah, I got that. I'll put that in there for you. But like I said, it's just such a an easy, like, I don't necessarily always want to learn everything. So if I can go somewhere where everyone's built the templates, then that's what I would rather do. So I put that in there for everybody so that you can grab that. And it's a really, really fun community of people, and they have like all kinds of meetings and do all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm gonna take a breath for a second, Erin. But yeah, I mean, just to recap, Mind Studio for AI agents, Operator for autonomous work, right? Building those kind of different things. You have Make to actually create the automation. And then you have something like ManyChat if you want to use and activate your social media into kind of an AI thing. And ManyChat, yeah, I'll put that in there for you too. Kind of fun, right? Go for it, Tony.
Okay, so I have, you know that I do a lot of content and I have, you know, hour-long presentations that I do. So what is the best tool I use to, if I've got like a rough transcription of an hour's worth of content where I can clean it up and have it be word for word? Because when I put it into ChatGPT, it goes in like 16 parts. Like I gotta do one part and then copy and paste it, another part and copy and paste it.
Is it a video like on YouTube, or is it like, where is it?
No, so what I did is, well, I've got it as a YouTube video, and then I take it over to a transcription where I transcribe it, and it's got all my O's and ums and ahs, all of those things in there. And so then I put it into ChatGPT and I say, clean it up, but I want it word for word, but it puts it in like 16 parts. So I got to copy, paste, ready for the next part. So I'm trying to find a service that would do it all.
So there's two things that you could do better on the prompting side, which is you could say to eliminate all filler words before you put it in there. So like one of the things that you could say would be is eliminate all filler words that natively come about in normal language, right?
Yeah.
And then it'll go, oh, okay, I can eliminate the filler word. But let me give you like a great example of what I think you weren't here when I did this earlier, which is fine. So I'm going to take a YouTube video that I see of you right now, Tony.
Yeah, I can tell from his question, Tony came in late. He's got to watch the recording.
Yeah, so this is
All right, we can do it again.
This is the tool that we were showing with different agents, Tony. And so
Yeah, I've got that up. I saw this part that you were doing.
Yeah, we could do an executive summary, or we could actually, we're going to turn this into, let's turn it into a LinkedIn post because I want to. So I've got your silicone. Can you guys hear me okay? Just want to make sure you don't hear the background noise. You can see somebody vacuuming. I love that like my housekeeper came at this time. It's so funny. But I took your video from Silicon Slopes, Tony, and I just put it into this tool. And what it's going to do is that's your video, and I'm going to ask it to run. And so what it's going to do is it's going to turn that YouTube video into a LinkedIn post. The second thing that I'm going to do at the same time, again, because we want to be efficient in what we're doing, is I'm also going to turn it into an article, because why not? So we're going to do those two things at the same time. And it's going to take that interview. I've seen that Silicon Slopes interview. You got a lot of filler in there too. It'll go ahead, take it all out and turn it into an executive article. So give it a second and these two things. So again, it just took that video, Tony, and it just turned it into, this is the post for LinkedIn. Now, we can also use the agents to do full transcriptions with eliminating filler words. So that's the key thing that you would need to add to your prompt. The other thing that I would consider is if you put it in is it in a Google Drive? You said it's on YouTube?
So I take it from YouTube. I'm getting a transcription. I upload it into ChatGPT and I say, you know, create it, just take all my filler words out, take all my ums and ohs out. But then it spits it back to me as like, it's too big. So I got to do it in parts. And so it'll say, here's part 1, here's part 2, here's part, and I have to go through like 16 parts to get a full video.
So this would be a great use case for Operator, because what you could actually do is use the Operator tool and say, and actually run the process and tell it what to do, which you could say, take a YouTube video that's at this link, insert it into ChatGPT for full transcription, eliminating filler words, and then you let the machine run on its own. Now you have to supervise it, but that would be the best way that I would look at it. And speaking of kind of that AI, somebody just sent me a DM asking about which AI tool that I use for video editing. Everyone has tools that they like. I have 2 that are my favorite for a variety of reasons. Everyone knows this, so it doesn't. And again, this is the thought leadership stuff that we're talking about. If you want to, you know, again, if you want to like get your content out into the world and you want people to see and all of this stuff, it is called Vizard. And so Vizard is, you might have seen, you know, these tools that can go in and kind of edit. And again, I'm just going to show you with my own, because I think that's always important to do. Here we go. All right, so you guys see this here, Aaron? Let's take Aaron. Why not? So we'll take Aaron. Hi, Aaron. And so what it did is I uploaded a really long video and then it went through and identified, what it saw here. So again, this is the video. There he is.
If our role is leadership and my role is to develop other leaders, how am I going to measure that success?
So I edited none of this. AI does all of the edits. And if I want to look at maybe adding certain things in, you'll see it eliminated filler words. Anytime you said an or it did a jump cut. So if everybody knows, has everybody heard of, what is it, Coco Melon? It's like for little babies, it's a cartoon. And people talk about how kids are addicted, the babies are addicted. It's because every 3 seconds, the frame changes. So it works for adults too. So these tools know to frame change it. And you'll kind of notice it now that I've said it.
If our role is
1, 2,
leadership
3.
and my role is to develop
1,
other
2,
leaders,
3.
how am I going to
Boom.
measure that
So
success?
you'll see like it's jump cutting. So that's what it does because that's what keeps people involved. And so it's pretty fun because from the same tool here, if I did want to export it out, it's going to give me a little bit of a transcript. But if I say, hey, I want to take, let's just say this one, and I want to export it, it's going to give me the ability to schedule the post directly from the tool. It's also going to, if I want the caption for the tool for YouTube, it'll give me that. Does that make sense? And so like you can take a 20-minute video. I think it does up to, around 30, 40 minutes.
That was like a keynote. That was a long format speech that I did on that one, right?
Yeah, that was like an hour-long keynote that Aaron did. So that's kind of what I like for doing these. I really enjoy. But my favorite one, especially if you're going to do any content on LinkedIn, as we move into this thought leadership conversation, Aaron, is that what Munch can do is it's called Get Munch. It will look at the video, but it will actually rate your coherence. Like, are you being clear in the video? Are you actually like saying something? And then it measures it against what's called search intent, which is what are people actually looking for or searching for in real time on different platforms. And again, I can give you a great example here with, I think, one of our partners, Rico. We did a little bit of a recording. So I uploaded the video and it basically said, hey, here's the things that we're seeing in relation to, search volume. And then what it did is it said, hey, this is what people are looking for and you're doing very good. When I'm not doing very good, it'll tell me, but it'll say, hey, actually this is trending right now. This is trending. So you might want to use this one first. So I'll say, cool, like I'm down to use this one. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and click it.
Like, how do we?
I don't want to hear myself talk, but then it'll give me the captions for, hey, this is what you should put on TikTok. This is what you should put on Instagram. Or in the case of people that are doing more professional type of content, you can say, I would like to generate clips, and LinkedIn is an option. So you do get that wide format option. So if you're putting stuff on YouTube and it's longer form, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to do the coherence score. It's going to tell you, hey, this is trending, post this. And it also you can publish from there as well. So again, if you have different team members doing different things, this is also something that once you get it done and you want it scheduled, Operator can actually go in and put your content and schedule it for you. Like, it's kind of amazing. So it is like having, I would say that our team has been about, 40% more productive with the tools. So hopefully that helps. Questions on that? Questions? Oh.
Another question here from Jen says the last bit you were doing there, was that Get Munch or Operator?
That was Get Munch. So Get Munch is the tool.
The video editing.
Yeah. And again, I just to be clear, I have so much respect for video editors that are really good at their job. It's just for a lot of people, the budget, you don't always have that budget, and I believe personally that there is a time and place for, especially when we're doing content, I think that it has to be equal parts native self-produced with equal parts high quality video. That's what we're seeing works really well. So like stuff that feels casual and off the cuff, and then that really high level studio. So I don't want to like say, you should only do AI, but I think it's just time and place, right? Like if you've got something really special that you're telling, like how you started your company and business and why it matters in the world, you're probably going to want to do that in a higher level produced environment. But for just your daily, weekly getting stuff out into the world, I think that's, AI stuff is pretty simple for that. And also, like, I will add that as we move into this thought leadership piece, Aaron, that, like a lot of times when people are doing stuff, how many of you guys get stuck? Like you don't even know what to ask sometimes. You don't even know what to think, or you're just not feeling creative. Okay, perfect. So I did a thing the other day, and you guys kind of know Aaron and I do some work together. I'm going to show them that picture, Aaron. So one thing that I did because I was a little stuck.
The photo
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah. So one thing that I did.
This is just as she keeps this up. This is the coolest thing I've seen AI do in a while, and I see all kinds of stupid crap. And like, this is just, how do I say this? As she shows it to you, just know, I will say this: it's insanely accurate. All right, ready, go.
Okay. So I was trying to do an update of some of our brand, and I was just a little brain dead on the day that I calendared it to do it. And we've all experienced that, right? You've blocked the time, you've got it, you're ready to go. And then you sit down at the keyboard, and I'm like, I have nothing, which is sad because I should have something to say. So what we did is we uploaded into ChatGPT a photo. And I said, what can you tell me about these business partners that are in this photo? And so it kind of starts saying how, it's caught us in the moment of joy. And then it says, here's what can be observed, right? The body language is relaxed, rapport and mutual respect. We're laughing, comfort, joy is unforced. We enjoy working together. The man in the white hat, who is Aaron, is expressive and energetic. He may bring charisma, creative energy, and confidence to this team. Possibly the visionary or external facing leader. Accurate, right? The woman is warm and supportive. Her presence suggests that she could be the strategist, organizer, or culture driver. This is like the accuracy. By the way, I'm a strategist. So like nailed it, right? Yin yang leadership, culture, human, joyful, authentic, right? And then it gave me some messaging cues because this is what I was trying
I want
to do.
t-shirts. I want t-shirts.
Yeah, and it says we do serious work without taking ourselves too seriously. Business should be bold, fun, and connections. We dance through strategy, not just spreadsheets, right? Kind of fun. Now, for those of you here that know Brooke, how many of you guys know Brooke? A couple of you, right? So I did the same thing for me and Brooke. And I just said, what can you tell me about these two women? Again, I was working on messaging for the website. And then it says collaborators, high energy and aligned, comfortable and in flow. We thrive in our working relationship. We're not there just to pose. We're showing up fully, which is rare. Role clarity without hierarchy is very accuracy. And then it's just kind of like, I'm the woman on the left. So I'm the executive presence, confidence, and approachable. And she's the youthful, edgy, confident vibe. And it picked up on her like leather pants and sneakers, which I think is really funny. So this is a great use case, an example of there is not one linear way to do anything. Leverage everything that is available to you. So in this day, I was like, I'm not feeling inspired. I have no words. I can upload images and it's going to give me kind of that, oh, okay. And then that triggers what I need to do the job. Does that make sense? So like what I love about that is that when you're doing that type of work, you have the ability to kind of think through different things. And if you haven't, played with, again, there is a GPT for just about anything that's out there, you guys. I mean, the Canva one is pretty great. The image generator is great. I mean, there's, you can look up all kinds of things. Maybe you have an old email list and you want to know if those emails are valid. Guess what? You can drop an Excel document in there and there's a tool that will tell you if the emails are valid or not, right? So that's like a great use case of a lead gen tool where like, oh, okay, yeah, like I want to know that all my emails are up to date. Or, maybe, has this ever happened to you? You guys have a phone number in your, someone gives you a phone number, or you got a text from someone, you don't know what it is. You can actually, there's a GPT for that too. You can put in the phone number and I'll tell you who it is. So that's just like practical scenarios. Pause for questions.
What's that one? What GPT is that?
I can drop it in there for you. I can drop it in there. That sounds like a problem that might happen, Hanjin.
Also, does the email one, does it validate the email addresses? I mean, does it does it like run a check and say and see if that email address can be reached?
Absolutely.
Put
So
that
like,
one in too.
yeah, here, let me just show
You
you that
probably
one
just
in
have to
here.
tell it to do that in the operator SKU or whatever you were doing.
Yeah,
But
or
yeah, I mean,
like here's a great example. This is the GPT that I was talking about, Jim. So this is the email validator bot. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat since my sense is that you'll want that. And I'm just going to put, I'll just put like Tony, right?
Actually, I'm using that I need that for our little project, Marissa.
Yeah, so perfect. I'm putting Tony's email in and it's going in and it's doing all the programming in the language that I don't understand and the green.
why is it in Russian?
Because why do you think? And that just means with the green, all you need to know is the green check mark means it's good. So you can also put in like, there's a couple different ones, but that's the one that I like the best. It's the most accurate. But you can put in a whole like, there's any number of things. And when I mentioned the Canva and getting created, when you're trying to be like, highlighted, like, it's like create a series of posts thanking, AI training attendees for sharing time with us. Like I'm just working on this and it's going to go in here and it's like, do I want it to be, I'm going to say, I want it to be warm gratitude. Right. And now based on that, it's going to say it wants to talk to this tool. Is that okay with you? Yes. And then it's going to connect into that interface. So again, if you're trying to do workflows, right? Like I mentioned, where we took one video and it does 7 or 8 actions, right? It's all about making sure the tech talks to one another. And so here's it's going to give me a couple of ideas and posts and options. And then, like I can change the date and stuff, right? And it's like, maybe I like that, maybe I don't, but maybe I don't care and I don't have time to worry about it and I just need to get it done. And again, the more if I had prompted it better and said, here's our logo, here's our brand colors, here's our design, that's where Ernie's widget comes in really helpful because it's specifically designed to create like color palettes and things of that nature, where I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. It's like, how many of you have ever thought like, I like my logo, but should I have different colors? But what do those colors mean, right? Like I jokingly say no one should ever have yellow in their logo. Yoga is the color of affordability. And if you're not affordable, you should never have yellow in there. Like think of all the fast food restaurants that have yellow, right? Dollar General, yellow, right? McDonald's, yellow, right? We don't want yellow. So even integrating things like color theory, like what colors are good persuasive indicators of higher ticket engagements, right? Blue and green. Yep. I'll put the phone number in there too for you. Okay, cool.
Absolutely amazing. Look, I'll take over the mic on here. Hold on.
Thank you.
Because I'm gonna bring us home to on time. So, really at this point, one of the things I just do want to say, I mean, I work with Marissa every day, basically on some project, this project, that project. You guys know we're co-conspirators. And when we get into this mode, and this was absolutely amazing, almost 3 hours here together today, to where I learned something every single time. But if you appreciate what we were trying to achieve today, was that balance of learning to trying to give you the implementation side, right? Some tangible side things to take away to be able to drive forward on this. So thank you, Marissa. I think you just took the mic there for like 45 minutes, actually, maybe if not more. So thank you. Everybody give Marissa a virtual round of applause, or otherwise I'll clap into my microphone so it's loud, hopefully. So no, really appreciate that. Well, I think the goal is always, is to end on time, maybe even give us a couple of minutes back on here. One of my agenda items is to just remind you why we're here. And again, it's Breakthrough Mastermind, right? I'll take the cue from you guys saw Tony Child on the screen and talking earlier. He's one of our business partners to the mastermind, Marissa, myself, Brooke, quite a few others on here. And the reason we're here is Breakthrough. Right? The spirit of this community is learning, giving back, and being there for each other. And if I just give the mini plug that I'm here to do for Breakthrough, it's a special group, right? It is, we hear mastermind. I think it's an overused term. It's 2025 and everybody's got a freaking mastermind. Everybody's got a freaking live event, right? Thais is down there going, right? There's a million of them. I can't even do it. What I do believe is different into, how we're positioned on this is it's boutique by format, but it's different. It's not all speakers. It's not just people talking at us when we get together. It's consciously member centric, where everybody gets up on stage, everybody shares their goals and roadblocks, and we leverage the power of our room, our networks beyond that room to help each other, to move things forward. We have a ton of fun. We do great things. We've done events in Dallas, Orange County, Miami, Sedona, Park City. I mean, I can go on and on. Like I can't even think about it. Our next event is June. Somebody on the team is going to drop the registration link. Oh my gosh, it's already there. Never mind. Wow, it's good. Somebody on the team read my mind about 60 seconds ago. The registration link is already in our chat. Our next event is the second week of June in San Diego. Right. And in San Diego, it's the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Check it out. If you have any questions, contact me personally. I'm happy to talk to you. Tony, Marissa, anybody on the team, you guys know where to find us. And we'll tell you more about it on that side. But I mean, that's it. I just wanted to give you the short plug for that. We've got a great lineup of speakers in San Diego, and we always do fun things. We got a yacht party on one of the nights. We always end up dancing on the boats, bonfire the first night. We learn, we laugh. It's great. Tons of fun, tons of learning, a lot of great business owners, and it's entrepreneurial minded, right? Everybody from all over the country and all different, worlds. So, all right,
And
there's a phone number checker on there. Go ahead, Marissa. What I miss?
now I would add that like the thing that I enjoy the most is when we were actually in our Las Vegas event. Day 3 of our events is always implementation. And what we focused on was actually helping people build their GPTs. So one of our members got up and kind of did a talk, and that feeling of I'm excited, I'm inspired, but then when I go home, I'm going to lose everything that I just learned. So what was really cool is just being able to be there all in space, building this stuff together. And we have like a couple of members in our community that are like phenomenal at AI. I mean, one guy runs like Jeff Hunter's doing some amazing stuff, but Rico Moreno is as well. But that was the thing that when we got feedback from the event, it was all about just the pieces of implementation, right? And a little bit of access to each of us, right? So that's kind of super fun. And I'm so glad you guys came to hang out today. I think we might even be ending on time or earlier.
Yeah, no, we're doing good. And I just want to bring it home and say again, it's not all AI all the time, right? As the non-AI guy, I'll stick up for stuff. Tony's teaching gratitude, how to implement that, take that back into our lives. Marketing, business strategy, team building, every aspect of our lives as entrepreneurs. Self-care is a driving conversation, right? As entrepreneurs, business owners, and that. So with that said, I think the tone is to wrap this up and bring it to a close. I, as the host today, want to thank my co-host, Marissa, Brooke, Tony, the entire team that helped put this together today. Our speakers on here, Ernie and Scott. I think you guys know how to find everybody on this. So thank you all. And thank you guys. Thank you for taking a ton of time. 3 hours out of our busy schedules is no small chunk. I know it wasn't for me. And really good job investing into yourself and investing into each other and helping, drive this together forward. I really appreciate you all. Have an amazing, amazing Wednesday.
Yeah.